I now recognize the Deputy Permanent Representative of Israel, speaking on behalf of Israel, United States, and Canada.
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. I'm pleased to be delivering this statement on behalf of our team, Canada, Israel, and the United States. We know that urbanization is occurring at unprecedented scale and rate. This was made clear by all panelists yesterday and today, as well as the TST background paper. 60% of areas anticipated to be urban by 2030 are not yet built, creating enormous opportunities for investment in sustainability. The TST issues brief surveys, some current trends in urbanization, and make clear the imperative of sustainable urbanization. If we plan, develop, and manage cities, will be powerful drivers of economic, social, and environmental sustainability. Cities and urbanization dynamics are therefore critical to sustainable development. Our work must be relevant to the majority of the world's population who live in cities, and the post-2015 development agenda must reflect an integrated understanding of urban dynamics and issues. The question is not whether our agenda can promote sustainable cities, but how. We will make 3 points and one concluding observation. First, cities offer compelling demonstration of why the post-2015 development agenda needs to promote meaningful multi-stakeholder engagement. Local and municipal actors need to be centrally engaged along with other partners from civil society, the private sector, the science and research community, and so on. The voluntary guideline on the responsible governance of tenure is a good example of what can be achieved through multi-stakeholder engagement. This issue of land is at the core of urban development, and security of tenure is a key factor in people's decision to build and invest responsibility to promote social harmony and protect the environment. We agree with the high-level panel that cities are where the battle for sustainable development will be won or lost. Our focus should not only be on direct threats cities face, but also on their potential to identify and deliver solutions. This requires a multi-stakeholder, multi-sector approach that engages the private sector, civil society, local authorities, as well as a network of cities such as the C40, connecting the world's megacities in an effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Problem solving should allow for city dwellers and communities, including the most vulnerable, to play a decisive role. Engagement of the private sector should be maximized, both in its own right and in the form of public-private partnership. Many urban development initiatives have enormous potential to mobilize private investment and public-private partnership in everything from sustainable transport to residential solutions. We heard a little bit about bicycle sharing program yesterday, which are gaining popularities in cities around the world. These programs are a great example of the kind of solution that can be generated by public-private partnership. We believe we would benefit in our own process from hearing more on dynamic urban leaders from dynamic urban leaders around the world, not just about their challenges and solutions, but also about what they would find useful in an international framework such as the one we are trying to elaborate. Second point, cities are hubs of creativity and innovation. Cities are often at the forefront of policy innovation. They concentrate people, they concentrate ideas and resources in ways that can be powerful drivers of positive change. Our agenda should help to promote the ability of city leaders, urban communities, and individuals to innovate. Enabling conditions should be created to spare technological solutions, including green technologies, as well as social entrepreneurship to address local and context-specific challenges. Supporting good governance is also extremely important. Third point, many issues we are discussing are highly relevant for cities and urban dwellers, while also being relevant for others. Energy, water and sanitation, sustainable infrastructure, especially transport, obviously also health, education, jobs, and so on and so on. If we can build on what was said by our colleagues from Guatemala yesterday, even without specifying that a given goal or target is about cities, a framework that includes, for example, targets on access to safe drinking, water and sanitation, increasing energy efficiency, building and transport, or expanding secure rights to land, property, and other assets can powerfully support urban sustainability. Climate change is also a particular concern for us, and city planning and management need to give due regards to climate diagnostics and disaster impact. Cities are some of the most vulnerable areas to natural disaster, and increasing their resilience is critical for cities around the world. Finally, Mr. Co-Chair, we come back to the issue of how to best craft an agenda that is relevant to cities and our shared priority of sustainable urbanization, which we agree is a high common priority. We are open to different ideas. We have heard the argument for a standalone goal on cities and urban specific targets, and we are still reflecting on what would be best to address these complex and important issues. In particular, we believe it is essential not to reinforce an artificial or static understanding of the rural-urban divide, as we heard from our Pakistani colleague and others yesterday, or to oversimplify complex shifting demographics. For example, territorial cohesion and urban-rural linkages are crucial, and as cities grow, there is a pressing need to enhance infrastructure to connect urban centers with rural towns or villages. Sustainable transport, as we heard today, will obviously be key in this regard, especially for increasing access to job opportunities and services in urban areas. But transport is a cross-cutting issue affecting rural and urban areas alike: local, regional, and national commerce, international trade, human mobility, public health, and the environment. We are therefore more attracted to an approach that emphasizes targets relevant to urban dwellers, such as addressing urban priorities like improved energy efficiency in buildings or incorporating the recycling or treatment of all municipal and industrial wastewater prior to discharge in our approach to water sanitation. As we set to elaborate the post-2015 development framework, we must therefore seize the opportunities that cities represent, as well as think through carefully the most impactful and constructive way to do that. As we heard yesterday, we need to look at the big picture and ensure that our framework can predict and address future challenges. In conclusion, Mr. Co-Chair, allow me to briefly react to a comment you made in your opening remarks yesterday relating to the final report of this group and what it might contain. Our team will raise additional procedural matters later this week, but we think that it is important to clarify one point at this stage. You mentioned in your words yesterday that there was agreement on using the Rio outcome document as the narrative accompanying the SDGs. Our understanding following the brief and rather spontaneous discussion at the end of December meeting was that we would bracket this issue of narrative in order to focus on goals and target, despite not having reached consensus about what the narrative should be. We look forward to the opportunities to exchange views on how we envision the final report, and we think this is an essential step as we look toward the next phase of our work. Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair.
I thank Israel, speaking on behalf of the United States and Canada, for your statement. On your last comment, we have not arrived at any conclusions on this matter. We will be discussing that, I believe, in February or early March. This was just an indicative interpretation from the chair as to what we thought was the indication of where we're going as of December. Not set in stone, so don't worry about that.